Hi everyone, my name is Liz and welcome to my channel. As you probably saw from the thumbnail and title of this video already, today I'm going to talk about my recent travel to Greece from Canada. I know it's very uncertain time, so I hope you'll find this video useful. So if you do, hit that thumbs up button. It's just a free way of saying thank you. Subscribe to my channel. I'm gonna post a few more videos on this series and many more of other topics and series, and share with your friends. Maybe they would like it and they would find it useful as well. So why did I decide to film this vlog series? My first and main reason was to share my experience with people who are still hesitating about traveling. You might have been a frequent traveler prior to pandemic, or maybe you never traveled before, but you really want to now and you're still hesitating. Would it be your internal hesitation or maybe some external factors like people you know who might have been shaming you for even thinking or talking about traveling, or the news that always project more negative image than a positive image about reality, my opinion. Regardless of the influences that were affecting you, I just want to just throw it out there for you to hopefully lean one way or another if you're still hesitating about traveling. The other reason is lack of information. When I decided that I do want to travel and I'm ready in summer 2021, when I was fully vaccinated, I couldn't find much information online from Canadians who have been traveling internationally. The information was almost like at zero level. It was so scarce. Initially, I wanted to go to Italy, and I couldn't find any information on that front. If you want to travel now, I just want to provide you some information. If my videos don't answer all your questions, please ask them in the comments below, and I would try to do my best to answer them to the best of my knowledge. And I hope we're going to build a community of people who can share that knowledge about traveling here, traveling from Canada, traveling to Greece. Anything would work in terms of helping each other to be as equipped as possible before traveling internationally during this time. So what do you need to have in terms of paperwork? Well, first of all, I'm a resident of British Columbia. By the way, if you are in British Columbia or you're from British Columbia, leave that rain umbrella emoji in the comments. I'd be happy to see how many of you are here or interested in the subject. If you are from any other province, I'm happy to have you here as well. My point was just that your vaccination certificate might look different. But whenever I speak about vaccination certificate, think of what you have that proves that you are fully vaccinated. All right, so as you guessed, you might consider having vaccination certificate, but I'm just going to talk about what were the requirements when I was preparing my travel and how did I deal with them. At the time of my travel preparation, the paperwork that you had to have to arrive to Greece was most importantly passenger locator form. I would start with that because I've read online that some people were not allowed to board the plane because they didn't fill it in correctly or they didn't have it. So I'm going to leave links somewhere here to that form, but it's easy to find online. So make sure that you fill in that form in the right time frame that they set for you. And I believe it's before the midnight of a day before the day of your departure. Anyways, check online and make sure you have that form. In terms of proof that you are not contagious, let's say, right? Let's call it that way. You either have to be fully vaccinated, and for that you need to have vaccination certificate. Again, I don't know how vaccination certificate looks in your province. In BC, at the time of my travel, all I had were those little paper cards. BC residents would know what I'm talking about, which do not look legit at all. Just like as a side note, I saw some for sale on Amazon. I was not relying on those, and you shouldn't do that as well. So aside of those little cards, which have like handwriting of a nurse who who gave you the vaccine. We at the time already had a BC Services Card app that you could connect to your health gateway, meaning your medical record that you could also use to pull up your vaccination information. To me personally, that was not legit enough either, because of how new it was and like almost beta looking. So what I did in my case, I went to my family doctor and I asked her to give me anything, maybe with like letterhead that would say Ministry of Health, or anything that would make it a little bit more exclusive than, cards with handwriting on them, or that almost blank form from the Health Gateway portal. She gave me one form that looked very similar to Health Gateway form, but she stamped it with her name, like a stamp, and like signed it. So that was, I figured at the time, was the best thing I could have gotten to secure my position, I guess, in terms of vaccination. But I had another level of complication, and if you're on the same boat, let me know. But my problem was that my vaccination certificate had different last name than my travel document. So if you follow the official guidelines on the website, like let's say for Greece or any other country you go to, they usually mention that your name on your vaccination certificate or any paperwork that you show that they require in terms of COVID should show the same name that your travel document. Because it was not the case, I decided to do a rapid antigen test as well, because it's a second option that you can use to enter the country. If you are not fully vaccinated, you can do one of the approved tests, and rapid antigen at the time was approved. I booked appointment at YVR, Vancouver International Airport clinic, to get my rapid antigen test the day of my departure, so I would know it's within the range of those hours. I think it was 48 hours prior to departure. Anyway, it can change, but the point is that if you have the same problem, just to be sure, maybe you would need to spend that money and get a test just so your last name matches. Otherwise, well, you can have a paperwork that supports your name change, but for the best or for the worst, I don't have that advice. Would that work for you? How they look at it now, if they're going to let you on the board, or how they're going to look at this kind of paperwork from other country when you arrive to some other country other than Canada, where you got that paperwork supporting your name change. I don't know. But the point is that make sure that you are as covered as you can if you have those other levels of complications. So for me, there was different last name, and I did a rapid antigen test. It was pricey, yes, but in the way that secured my paperwork completely. If your name is the same, by all means, if requirements didn't change, you can use your vaccination certificate. The other option, if you don't have your vaccination certificate or test certificate, you can show your proof of being recovered from COVID. So if you had COVID in the last few months, again, don't quote me on it. I think it was 6 months at the time, but it might change. So if you had COVID within the range that is mentioned on the website, you can show that certificate as an option, and you don't have to have, let's say, test. So it's or you don't have to have all of them. You have to have either vaccination certificate or your test certificate, or the proof, I don't know it's certificate or not, but proof that you were recovered from COVID. Again, in my case, as I said, I used my test certificate, but I also took my vaccination certificate as well, just in case. You never know how they're going to like your documents, especially now in the time that Canada, at least at the time I traveled, Canada didn't have any federal approved form that would show that you were fully vaccinated. So that was my case. In terms of insurance, I didn't get any. I used just the travel insurance included in my extended health benefits, because it does cover some level some amount of hospitalization expenses. I even called to clarify hospitalization, and they said yeah. They didn't kind of say no to COVID, but I wouldn't rely on health insurance just because, it's very high risk everywhere now to get this virus. So insurance companies are aware of that. Make sure you plan your budget and be as safe as you can be. That's all I can say, which is pretty, common knowledge, I guess. I also wanted to talk about some expenses that I encountered, being my tickets and accommodation. Maybe you've been to Greece before. My first trip was in 2018, and that was my second trip, so I was able to compare. Now, in these uncertain times, try to get tickets from your country directly into the country you're going to, even though you might transfer within, domestically in the country you're coming from. For me, that was Canada. So I got Air Canada tickets transferring in Montreal. And that meant that I went from Montreal to Athens, meaning that I went from Canada to Greece directly. That helps because that way you don't need to think about any regulations regarding countries where your layover may be. Even if the ticket is cheap, believe me, it's not worth it during this time, unless it's really, 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 really cheap and you can cover potential quarantine expenses. But I don't want to I don't want to make it very negative here. I just say that I booked with Air Canada and it was by Montreal. And I also booked internal tickets to go to some islands. We went to Corfu, Santorini, and Mykonos that you're going to see in the following episodes of this vlog. Having booked tickets about 1 month ahead, domestic tickets were about 400 and the round trip was about 1,300, that being about 1,700-ish total. But again, if I find all the prices, I'll put them somewhere up here. So that's about the prices. Accommodation was about the same price-wise as I remember it before pandemic. So the prices didn't really change from 2018. On average, I think you could find a good place for like $90 to $100 per night, and that would be a good place, maybe even cheaper on the mainland. So Athens can be way cheaper than islands, especially Santorini and Mykonos, because they're really popular. But for that $100 a night, you're going to get a very decent place, and I'm going to be showing the places we were staying at so you can see for yourself what it was like. What I think changed is admission tickets to different places. I give you an example. We went to Vouliagmeni Lake in 2018 and spent 12 euros per person. In 2021, it was 18 euros per person. So that's one example that I can remember. So admission did increase a little bit, but accommodation, I didn't notice much change. Food-wise, Athens, again, I didn't see the change. I haven't been to islands before, so the islands overall cost you more because, again, produce is shipped from somewhere else. So going out in a restaurant might cost you a little bit more on the island than on the mainland. As of summer 2021, you didn't need to have any tests to get to the islands when you're already in Greece. I know they plan to change it in fall, so if you're traveling in fall, make sure you follow the current regulation because you might have to have rapid antigen or PCR tests to go even between different islands in Greece or between island and the mainland of Greece. That's what I can think of right now. As I'm losing my daylight now, I just want to quickly cover any COVID paperwork checks that I had after I got everything ready to go. So in airport, when I got my test result from the lab, I went to check in and they asked for my paperwork. I don't know if it was related to any checks if I need visas or anything, because I did need check-in assistance, or if it was just a general check for stuff. But they asked for my documents in YVR. The lady just kind of glanced on my passenger locator form. I'm not sure she really looked through my test result or vaccination paperwork. She did read something online. I don't know if it was related to my potential visa requirements she might have thought I needed. I didn't. After YVR, in Montreal, there was no security, so I went straight to the gate in Montreal, so there was no check there. In Athens, they did have COVID paperwork check. I don't remember if it was before or right after the passport control, but there were people standing and asking passengers to prepare this COVID-related documents, so vaccination certificate or test result or recovery paperwork and passenger locator form. I had all my paperwork in my hands and my passenger locator form on my phone because I didn't have paper copy of it. I didn't print it out. And when I approached the person who was checking, he just kind of glanced on my passenger locator form again and didn't really look through my paperwork. I don't think that's how they do for everyone, but that's how it happened to me. I think it's more random how thorough they go through the paperwork, but you do have to have that paperwork. Other times that I needed the paperwork, vaccination paperwork, were first at the same airport in Athens. When I had layover going to Mykonos and Santorini, they did ask for vaccination certificate and I had to show them my paper, which was signed and stamped by my family doctor, the one I talked about. And the other time was when I was entering some of the restaurants just because I wanted to sit indoors. So that was the rule at the time. I don't know if they kept it. Probably they did. If you want to sit indoors at the restaurant, you must show the proof of vaccination. It's easier if you are it's easier if you're from EU because they share the way that certificate looks like, the way I understand. But if you're from Canada, show what you can. Make sure you have all kinds of ways your certificate looks like. If you go now, if we still don't have any federally approved certificate, just have all you can have. That would be my advice. But other than that, everything is outdoors. You go to the beach, you go to the restaurant, you sit outdoors. Many restaurants do not even have indoor seating. They're not meant, I guess, for off season, or I don't know what's the deal, but maybe the weather is warm most of the year. But I did notice pretty often that there is outdoor seating, but when you come in, let's say to use washroom, there's no seating. You just come in, there's a kitchen and you go down for the washroom, something like that. That's a common thing in Greece. The last piece of information I wanted to share is when you come back to Canada, as you know, you need to have, if you still do need to have it, pre-arrival test done at the country you're coming from within 72 hours of departure, I believe, not arrival, but anyways. We did ours in Athens. We found some place by the hospital. It was not at the hospital, but by the hospital. It cost us 35 euros per person to have PCR test, and they delivered results in 8 hours via email. I would cover it in a vlog if they did check it in Athens airport, but they did check test result on arrival. In the Athens airport, they put this blue sticker on our passports with some letter B, I think. I might have it somewhere. Hold on. It's like this. They put this sticker on our passport, and when we arrived to Montreal, we did that passport machine check, which you put your passport yourself, and then you go to the person who actually asks you about the test result. So we did show our test result to the person. As you proceed, there are 3 other people who were asking us our boarding passes, and we noticed that they were directing some people one way, some people another way, so they can randomly select you for testing. At some of those stations, let's say, they put the blue sticker on our passports, and I think it meant something because the last lady, she's just they all kind of looked at our passports, but the last one, she's like, oh, you have a blue sticker, just go that way. I don't know all the colors of those stickers out there. I don't know what they all mean, but we didn't get tested. So after all those people who were checking our boarding passes and passports and could have sent us to testing, we got to the general area, I guess, and to our gate to go to Vancouver. And in Vancouver, they didn't check anything. Oh, I hope I covered everything. If I forgot something or I didn't cover some sort of requirement that they mentioned on the website, let me know. Thanks for watching my first video on YouTube. I hope you liked it. I promise to keep improving this image and sound, so I apologize if it was annoying, but I hope you got the information that you came here for. And I hope you would enjoy the vlog that would follow. If you have any questions that I didn't answer, please mention them in the comments below, and I would try my best to answer them to the best of my knowledge as soon as I can. Hit that like button if you liked it, share with your friends, maybe they would find it useful as well, and subscribe. I would be happy to see you on my channel. For now though, I'd say bye bye and I see you in my other videos.